The Detroit Tigers just secured one of their most impressive victories of the entire year, but the mood inside the clubhouse is absolutely devastating. They took down the Cleveland Guardians 6-2 to protect their division lead. But they might have just lost the one piece of their puzzle that they physically cannot replace. Riley Greene is injured. Watch the exact moment it happened. He is rounding the bases, pushing his body to the absolute limit because that is the only way he knows how to play this game. He is a high-motor guy who leaves everything on the dirt. But the human body has limits. When he grabbed that right hamstring, you could physically feel the air get sucked out of Comerica Park. Soft tissue injuries are the absolute worst enemy of a playoff contending team. They linger. They are unpredictable. And for a guy who relies on his legs to generate power at the plate and cover massive ground in the outfield, this is a devastating blow. The manager comes out, the trainer comes out, and the reality sets in. This is not just a standard injury. This is a catastrophic blow to a team that is already fighting for its life. Look closer at the underlying metrics of what Riley Greene actually brings to this team. We are not just talking about a .273 batting average and a .365 on-base percentage. We are talking about the quality of those at-bats. He grinds down opposing pitchers. He sees more pitches per plate appearance than almost anyone else on the roster. When he steps into the box, he forces the opposing manager to completely alter their bullpen strategy. He has launched 16 absolute nukes this season and driven in 54 runs. But beyond the traditional box score, his underlying StatCast data shows a guy who is consistently finding the barrel and hitting the ball with elite exit velocity. You cannot replicate his presence. When you remove him from the lineup, you are removing the central nervous system of this entire offense. But if you think the offense is in trouble, wait until you see the pressure cooker that is about to explode in the starting rotation. But we have to give absolute credit where credit is due. The Tigers did not just fold when their leader went down. They rallied and they fought back against a very dangerous Cleveland Guardians team. Kevin McGonigal decided to put the entire city of Detroit on his back. In the bottom of the fifth inning, with the game hanging in the balance, McGonigal stepped up and delivered an absolute masterclass in clutch hitting. He did not try to do too much. He stayed within himself, tracked a tough pitch, and ripped a massive two-run double that completely flipped the momentum of the game. It was absolutely clutch. He ended the night with 3 crucial RBIs. We also have to talk about the silent catalyst that the Tigers added at the deadline. Gleyber Torres. When the front office brought Torres in, a lot of people questioned the fit. But last night he proved exactly why you need veteran playoff experience in a young clubhouse. Right after McGonigal's double, Torres stepped up and delivered a cold-blooded RBI single to extend the lead. He is bringing a level of intensity and focus that this team desperately needs right now. And speaking of intensity, let us talk about Spencer Torkelson. We are witnessing a massive revival from Torkelson right before our eyes. He opened the scoring in the second inning with a blistering RBI double. It feels like we are watching the second coming of Miguel Cabrera when it comes to his late season heroics. Torkelson is slowly adopting that elite plate discipline. He is not just swinging for the fences anymore. He is taking what the pitcher gives him, driving the ball into the gaps and becoming a complete professional hitter. With Greene out of the picture, the opposing teams are going to circle Torkelson's name on the scouting report. They are going to pitch him incredibly tough. He is going to see nothing but breaking balls in the dirt and fastballs on the absolute black of the plate. He has to stay disciplined because he is now the primary run producer. And then there is the beautiful chaos of Javier Baez. You can criticize his strikeout rate all you want, but you cannot deny the absolute chaos he creates when he gets on the base paths. In the 7th inning, El Mago worked his magic. He aggressively stole a base and forced a panic-throwing error from the Cleveland defense. That sequence directly manufactured a crucial insurance run for the Tigers. It is exactly that kind of unpredictable, high-energy play style that demoralizes opponents and fires up the Comerica Park crowd. The stadium was absolutely electric. The fans are experiencing October-level stress in the middle of August. They know exactly what is at stake. The bullpen was an absolute high-wire act. Jacob Waguespack came in and delivered to massive scoreless innings to bridge the gap. Then manager A.J. Hinch handed the ball to Kenley Jansen for the 9th inning. Jansen was navigating absolute chaos. He watched Joe Adell hit a massive 428-foot moonshot in the 8th inning to cut the lead. Then in the 9th inning, Jansen was on the mound trying to close the door. He gave up a sacrifice fly that brought the Guardians dangerously close. The tying run was looming. But Jansen relied on his veteran experience, dialed up his signature cutter, and finally locked down his 14th save of the season. They survived a 6-2 for Thriller. Think about the mental resilience required to do what this Tigers team is doing right now. Just a few weeks ago, they watched their absolute best pitch of the reigning Cy Young Award winner Tarik Skubal pack his bags and head to Los Angeles. For a lot of teams, that is the ultimate white flag. That is the moment where the clubhouse packs it in and starts looking towards next season. But not this group. Manager A.J. Hinch has cultivated an absolute us versus the world mentality inside that locker room. He has convinced these guys that they do not need a savior because they have each other. He managed last night's game like it was Game 7 of the World Series. He pulled starter Drew Anderson after just 4 innings despite allowing only 1 run because he recognized a vulnerable matchup. He is pushing every single button correctly. But let us be brutally honest for a second. Surviving one chaotic night in August is great for the morale. But surviving the next month and a half without Riley Greene is a terrifying proposition. The margin for error is gone. The offense is going to struggle to score runs. And that means the starting rotation has to be absolutely perfect. And that brings us to tomorrow night. On August 12th, the Tigers are handing the baseball to a guy who was specifically brought here to eat innings and save this rotation. Framber Valdez is taking the mound. Valdez currently sits at a 7-7 record with a 4.17 ERA. But if you look at his underlying metrics, you know he is capable of so much more. Valdez built his entire career on being the ultimate ground ball machine. He is currently inducing ground balls at a 51.6% clip. That is a solid number, but it is a noticeable drop from his peak years when he was sitting comfortably over 60%. He is relying on his heavy sinker about 45% of the time. Look closely at his mechanics on this replay. Notice the subtle change in his arm angle. That slight adjustment has created more vertical break on the ball, but it has also sacrificed a bit of that late diving action that used to shatter bats. When Valdez is on his game, that sinker comes in looking like a strike before completely falling off the table at the last possible millisecond. The Guardians' hitters are incredibly disciplined. They are not going to chase pitches in the dirt. Valdez has to establish the inside part of the plate early and force them to hit the top half of the baseball. If he leaves that sinker elevated, it is going to get absolutely crushed. He has to pitch like an absolute ace because the offense behind him is wounded. And he is going to have to outduel a pitcher who is having a phenomenal season. The Cleveland Guardians are sending Foster Griffin to the mound. Griffin is carrying a stellar 12, and for record with a pristine 3.31 ERA. He has been a consistent force for Cleveland, silencing bats and keeping them in every single game. Griffin is going to look at this Tigers lineup without Riley Greene, and he is going to attack them relentlessly. He knows that if he can navigate around the power of Spencer Torkelson, the rest of the lineup is incredibly vulnerable. This is no longer just a regular season game. This is a massive psychological test for the Detroit Tigers. They are holding on to a 1.5 game lead in the AL Central. The front office made their bed when they moved Skubal, and now the baseball gods are testing them with the Greene injury. This is where we find out what this team is truly made of. Can Framber Valdez put the team on his back and deliver a signature performance? Can guys like McGonigal and Torkelson carry the offensive load? Or is this 1.5 game lead about to vanish into thin air? So I have to ask you, how concerned are you about Riley Greene's hamstring, and can this team actually survive without him? Right now? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Comerica Deep Dive, Detroit Tigers, for more daily updates.